Every time. Well, we're back again, kind of switching back to our usual format.
Yes.
After last week, well, hopefully busting some myths. It was an interesting one. A bit chaotic, sorry about that.
Well, no, I think it needed to be a bit chaotic, didn't it?
But yeah, we've had people say they really enjoy it, so we definitely are planning on doing something else along those lines and hearing even more from our listeners. I think it's so good to get them involved.
I think we should definitely stick to doing a listener-centric episode once a week.
Charlotte, can we not commit to, like, once a week?
No.
Charlotte, this is already testing me.
No, like we'll do one a week, but one can be like a listener episode, and then the next week it can be a sensible episode.
Okay.
And then it can be a listener episode, and then it can be a
Right, listeners, I hope you're going to send us loads of stuff.
You're going to have to, and leave us some good reviews to counteract the bad ones. No, I'm joking. We only got one.
No, please do leave us reviews, though. Share with a friend, share with someone who might be interested.
And if you really don't like us, send us to someone you don't like. Equally as helpful.
Yeah, let them endure the torture of Charlotte and I talking for 45 minutes.
Sorry, this is terrible. Should we start again? Should we clap?
No. We will just get into the episode, though. Two topics which kind of getting into the mainstream media, kind of not, but they're definitely relevant to, I'd say, consumers and how, well, I guess the state of farming at the moment. So we are going to be talking about the weather, which is relevant to consumers. But
it's very farmerish, isn't it?
Yeah, but consumers love the sun. I keep saying consumers, like us versus them. Sorry, just people. I love the sun. I'm a sun worshipper.
I'm ginger, so I'm not.
And then we're actually going to be talking about oat milk.
Yes, very interestingly.
Which is really current.
Have you ever tried oat milk?
No.
No, I've not
God,
either.
We should have been trying it on the episode. Like a live drinking it. Don't know why I just did that.
I know, well...
Right, let's cut that. We absolutely have to cut that.
No, we'll leave that in. It'll be really funny. I'll make it the thumbnail. You get loads of views. I'm sorry. Right.
I was just pretending I was drinking out of a bottle.
Right, can we be sensible now? This is terrible. Your mum's going to kill us.
Cancel, cut.
Rebecca starts OnlyFans.
No, stop it.
Oh my God, can we just stop a moment? And
yeah.
Ilona Ma's podcast has actually replied to my comment. Oh my goodness.
She's an absolute icon.
What can I and I hate to be that person who does it. I liked her before she was famous. It's a bit like Paramore. I was a big Paramore fan when Paramore was young. And I was young as well. And then all of a sudden she went on tour with Taylor Swift and everyone started liking Paramore. And I sat there in my little ivory tower and said, I like Paramore before they were famous. And they the sisters put, go Charlotte, go. Thanks for tuning in. Nothing can hold you back. Oh my goodness, they're so American.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
So if anyone who doesn't know, Ilona Ma is a rugby player. Anna, for a very short stint, played rugby until she realised how contact.
Yes.
Well, basically, there was no girls rugby, so I sent her to Upper Eden Rugby Club, which was a mixed rugby, and she was at the age that she was going to be put up into a bigger group.
Yes.
But it meant she was playing at 10 years old against like 14, 15-year-old lads. And I'm not being funny, they were huge.
They'll be big, yeah.
They were big. And I think she literally went, oh my God, I can't do this. And it soured it for her. And I feel really quite sad that it did, because she's older, she's 12 now, and she's getting back into rugby and she thinks it's great.
Yes.
But they've got the opportunity to play amongst people that are their own size.
Yes.
And I think it's a bit more of a level playing field. So yeah, I used to look at like inspirational women's rugby posts to try and show Anna to inspire her into this, rugby that I was forcing her into, which she eventually quit after I bought all the bloody uniform. So Ilona Ma came up, and this was before the Olympics, before any of that.
Because she came over here to play, didn't she?
Yeah, she went to Brighton Bears, I think it was. Bristol Bears, that was it. Bears. Is there a Brighton Bears?
I don't think there is, but... Yeah.
I'm sure Brighton, they have a gay men's choir. I'm sure they have a female rugby team. I mean, they have everything in Brighton. So, yeah, Ilona Ma, absolute idol. Think she's wonderful. I love the fact that she embraces her muscly arms and back, because I'm quite
Broad.
Broad and muscular.
I know. I do hate that. But it's
I don't
amazing.
view you as muscular, like broad.
Do you want to see my biceps?
Yes, go on.
They genuinely. It's
Are they,
actually
are
quite
they good?
embarrassing. They are.
Like,
Are
let's
you
have a look.
sure?
Yeah, can I see? Holy shit, they're amazing. They're better than... What are we doing?
Oh, yours
They're
are
better than mine.
good.
Yours are better. What do you do?
Nothing.
What was that? This podcast was meant to be serious. So,
My mum's
Ilona,
going to be
if you're listening,
despairing.
which you won't be, I'm going to send you this. We love you from across the pond.
Our arms aren't as good as yours, but we're trying.
I know, we are trying. I mean, but do you know what? We went to the British Farming Awards. We both went, didn't we? The Farmers Guardian ones, they were in Birmingham. And I think it was
Yes.
Birmingham, yeah. The other ones were in London. And I wore a jumpsuit. And in that jumpsuit, it was, I don't know, I felt really masculine for some reason because all my shoulders were out. And I think it was probably, the cows had arrived and I'd done quite a lot of manual stuff. So I was probably
Yes.
maybe slightly more built than usual, which is, it's perfectly normal, you know.
You go in your peaks and like it's after lambing and stuff.
We've had
more
this
fit.
conversation on Cammy's podcast. He said shearing season, he's absolutely built.
Yes.
And then obviously over winter he gets a little bit fat, and then obviously summer comes and he tones up again. And it's unhealthy, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think that's just a farming.
It's the nature of our job.
It just exactly is the nature of it. But yeah, I felt really masculine, and I was like, my shoulders were quite, and they were. And in the end, I was like, fuck it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
And there's a picture, I'll find it. I don't think I put it online, of me doing exactly
We
that.
did that exactly
We
what
both
we've just
did
done.
exactly what we've just done.
Hold on, for people who are just listening to this podcast, sorry,
I'm really sorry. We
we've been
did Popeye.
showing our arms.
Yeah, we showed our arms off.
Going back to Ilona, I saw a brilliant. Sorry, we will get back onto the weather. Bloody hell, we've gone really quite.
Where did we
really
get
quite
onto?
far.
Oh no, they replied.
Oh yes.
Oh my god, I'm so happy right now.
And she
You don't know
did.
the effect you have on people when you reply to their comments. Yeah, but hold on. How are they replying to reviews? We can't
Oh.
reply to reviews. How do you reply to them?
Oh right. On what thing? On Spotify, Apple.
Was it on Apple Podcasts?
Oh, we'll have to have a look.
I didn't know you could reply to them
Okay, let's see.
because I'm replying to all of them.
We'll suss that out. Yeah, she did a brilliant video, and it was about imposter syndrome.
Well, they talk about that in the podcast.
Ah.
And it was like she didn't intend that to go.
Well,
She
it
didn't
went
expect.
viral.
Yeah, but she didn't expect to be asked that question either.
No, well, I thought it was pretty shoddy.
That's
questioning
exactly
from
what
the
they.
reporter.
That's exactly what they said.
You know, do you feel like you've got imposter syndrome? Well,
No,
no, because
Thanks
she's worked
for that,
hard.
hun. Why should she have him? But it's literally. It was a suggestion that she didn't have the right to be doing what she was doing
Yeah.
somehow.
Yeah.
Idiot.
Anyway, right, let's get back to
The weather.
The weather.
That was a fall from grace, wasn't it?
The reason we wanted to talk about this is because it is massively impacting farmers across the country. Now, by the time this episode comes out, we are scheduled some rain next week, so I'm praying.
Weekend, we're scheduled rain here,
Yes.
which is it's Friday today, so hopefully tomorrow it's going to rain.
Yeah.
I have to go around the yard picking everything up that could get wet because there's a lot lying around.
Well, it has been because
I mean,
it's
I've got
been-
straw outside.
I think we might be at the stage where it's kind of too little too late for a couple of situations, but we'll talk about those because I think people always see farmers as, oh, you always complain about the weather and you're never happy. Yeah, that's because our whole livelihood rests on
There's a fine
weather.
line.
But the post which really prompted it was one from the Funky Farmer, and he's down in Gloucestershire.
Love him.
And so you'll have to have a look at the post. There's one picture which shows a shed which is pretty much full to the brim of their silage. So it's all the cut grass gets shoved in a shed and preserved,
Pickled.
to feed the cows.
You wrap it up like a present in plastic, essentially. And yeah, you preserve it so you can feed your summer crop in winter.
And so anyway, in 2024, this shed was full to the brim, and they also made an additional 238 bales. This year, the clamp is literally, this shed,
Oh, I'm not looking forward to it.
empty. And I think it's absolutely, because this isn't just affecting livestock, you know, it's cereals as well. It's across the whole industry, isn't it? But one thing that I thought was interesting is the comments on this, because there was a real breadth. You had a lot of people completely understanding, resonating, feeling in the same position. But then you have people commenting things like,
Don't know
You
why you're
moan when
whinging.
it's too wet now. Everyone's enjoying the sunshine. You're moaning it's too dry. What does it take to make a farmer happy? Now the funky farmer replied, people with an understanding.
A legend.
But Charlotte, what's the actual impact that you're seeing here? Because we've talked about it in terms of the grass on the farm.
So real-time impact, what we're seeing is anything that we seeded last year is doing remarkably well. It's good. Anything that is slightly older grass is a no-go. It's not ready to cut. Anything that we thought was going to be ready isn't. So it seems to, it's disproportionately affected the grass, which is kind of funny. So some of the grass was literally just over ankle length, obviously not suitable for silage at all. And yet some of it was ready to cut. So it's made it really, really uneven across the farm. So the very small amounts of grass that we did have, we turned sheep onto it.
Yep.
And they can take it off. It wasn't worth cutting at all. And we're just praying. The majority of people around us have already taken their silage as they're going to take the silage, hope it rains, and then the grass will come again. Fingers crossed. But we're just waiting. We're hoping it thickens out a little bit in the bottom because, yes, we will be in that position. We'll be very short.
And so what does that actually mean if you don't have enough food for the cows?
You'd have to buy food and it costs a fortune.
Right, so it's so interesting that you talk about that increased cost because I have been, hopefully when it loads, keeping up to date with the drought situation in Australia because in South Australia they are in dire
Serious drought.
They were last year.
Yeah, they were.
And this year it's
hard to watch, actually.
Well, there's a video here and it came from 7 News Adelaide, so, a fairly reputable source. And you see the wagons coming in with bale after bale of hay for the livestock. And it's scary. And the farmers are citing the financial cost. One thing they also talk about is the mental health impact of being, I guess, that stressed, that burdened by the weather. It's not just, it's a bit dry and we could do with some rain. It's our livestock are going to die or we're going to have bills to pay, which we can't afford.
And the thing is, the associated costs don't go up, so you don't see steak go up in the shops.
Well, that is a question. What actually is the impact for consumers?
Well, say for instance you're short of grass, you don't get more at the auction for your lambs. That's not how it works. That isn't how it works. So we are affected financially, and there's no way of recouping that money.
Do you think that consumers only take notice of farming issues when it actually impacts them at the price point?
Yes. I really do. It was very interesting, people and the amount that they were put out when this cyber attack had happened in CoOp.
Yes.
And if you hadn't seen, there was essentially, I could be wrong, but I think it was a Russian cyber attack. I don't know what they wanted, but anyway, they affected Marks and Spencer's, Harrods and CoOp.
Yeah.
CoOp essentially switched their systems off straight away, so they didn't get in. Now our CoOp, wow, they are still without things. This was 3 weeks ago, more. And they are still without things on the shelves.
Yeah.
Just random items. But I've got a video of us walking in the height of the shortage. There's no food on the shelves.
Yes. Yeah.
Fresh food was affected first. And then obviously it's rolled out now to the fact that there's no Mentos on the shelves, the mints. There's no, jelly babies or what, all of the, and it was a supplier. They basically scrambled all the computers so that no one could order anything. But
Crazy.
Marks and Spencer's were they will have lost millions.
Well, I have a friend who works in some kind of very high-tech coding computing, which literally is so beyond me. She's incredibly clever. And she was saying this. She said that the impact, it won't be a few months, it will be years before they fully recover it.
I'd be very interested to see the share price.
Oh, well, it's dropped through the floor, hasn't it? Well,
I haven't looked.
But it's crazy, and it is quite scary that we're all at risk of this. It's not a case of if it happens, it's probably a case of when it happens for many of these big companies, and I guess how well you're ready to deal with it, what systems you've got in place. And I don't know, I just think it's very scary across the entire world that people can hack in this way and bring things to a complete standstill.
I do think it was incredibly interesting that people were it put everything into perspective.
Yes.
It gave it a real sense of, oh, wait, we can have things taken off us.
Yes.
Because we're so brattish now, aren't we? We are used to everything being on bloody tap.
Yeah.
You know, if
it's
I
like Amazon, it's like next day delivery is the norm.
And isn't it funny how, and you know, I'd somehow got onto conspiracy theory TikTok the other day, conspiracy talk. And the World Economic Forum had basically predicted COVID, hadn't they?
Yes.
And they'd said where it was going to come from, what was going to happen.
It's almost like biological warfare, isn't it?
Yeah. And then obviously COVID came true, and, you know, this is what they're good at. They run simulations of all these things all the time. They're very clever. Anyway, the next thing they've just predicted is a cyber attack, and they're literally going to have to shut the power grids down to reset the internet, essentially. And this is what it's actually, but this is real. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is real. This is what's, like, they have predicted. It's going to be so serious that we are going to be out without everything electrical. So everything that relies on your electricity. So, for instance, money from your card, your internet, everything you have. And that's what we're being pushed towards.
Crazy. And that's quite scary, you know, if they're thinking, but even if that only had an impact on 1% of the population, for example, or one area, the impact is just scary.
Over £500 million has dropped from the retailer's value since it began, and the share price has fallen by 6.5%.
Oh my gosh.
I'm really sorry if you have shares in CoOp. My thoughts are with you.
If you're having sleepless nights over that.
And even more if you've got shares in Oatley.
Oh gosh, well, we are talking about oat milk later, but one thing I want to talk about from...
Oh my God, me and my segues.
Oh my God, look at that. Perfection.
I know, if only we were ready to move on, but we're not.
So that's where we're at with, I guess, livestock farmers and grass. And I've had so many comments as well. I mean, from people on Instagram saying, I've limited grass left, it's desperate. This is on corn, so cereal crops. We've been irrigating for about 3 or 4 weeks. Nina, a friend, Curly Fields Dairies, she has ice cream milk vending machine
Nice
cafe.
milk bottles.
It's been great for me.
Yes, I bet.
Sales are up, something silly, but obviously not ideal for silage making.
No,
so that's
Chris from the brewery, Tyrrell Brewery, who we get our brewer's grain off, really good friend of ours. He's only around the corner, 3 miles away. Chris it's thriving, the brewing business. People are going to the pub, they're drinking more beer.
Yes.
And they will.
They'll sit in their gardens.
And the Lake District as well, the half term next week.
Yeah.
It is going to be... Well, it's going to be raining, but if the sunshine was out, it would have been heaving. Tourist businesses are going to be thriving off this. Our friend Lizzie, she has Abbott Lodge Jersey Ice Cream Farm. They share a milk tanker with us. Really good friend. She also scores our cows. Wonderful person. Their ice cream thriving.
Yep. But lack of feed, lower quality feed, more stress. About 50% of our beans haven't come through. Planted loads of wildflowers as a diversification. That got cut off, but I assume they won't have germinated. Brown grass here, conserved a field, but it'll be a very thin crop. Winter wheat starting to go into ear.
And at what point do these losses from farmers impact the consumer?
Well, this is what I was about to go on to. For example, if we have a reduced yield of wheat in this country or barley, so your beer, your breads, your biscuits, what actually happens is the people who want the wheat or the barley will go and buy it from the world market. In fact, they're mostly...
Yeah, they won't just pay you more.
No. We are very much beholden to this global market, and therefore we can't just talk about the supply and demand of wheat in this country. Oh yeah, well, we've got less wheat, so supply's down. Demand still remain the same, the price should go up. It won't, because simply the people who need it go and buy it from abroad. Now, in theory, fine, we all need trade. But the main thing, which is starting to get airtime, actually.
It is.
Standards. These things produced abroad are produced to completely different standards. And I think we won't go into that too much now because we touched on it a fair bit in...
Well, 43 of the banned pesticides here were found in imported wheat.
Yes.
43 out of 45 banned pesticides.
It's absolutely crazy.
So what is the point in banning them here and then bringing them back in?
Absolutely.
So not only are you not allowed to use anything to help your crop, you're being impacted by the weather. Your price is rubbish.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Literally, where does it end?
Like, how far off breaking even on crop are you?
Well,
People are like, as a farmer, I'm not saying you personally, as a farmer, how much?
well, I mean, looking at the wheat price now, obviously we don't quite know what's going to happen to this harvest, but it's going to be awful. There was a time, and I haven't done the maths in the last kind of month or so, but we would have been losing £100 a tonne on every tonne
How
of wheat.
the hell can a business stand losing £100 a tonne?
Well, this is exactly it. You physically can't. Now, there's other areas of the business which, we've got an Airbnb, for example. That's a bit of diversification, which helps with income. Perhaps if you put your farm into environmental land management schemes, that brings in some income. You do have to work. That's not just a free handout. But should we have to be diversifying?
That's the point.
Just to survive. Me going off and doing the other things on social media, speaking events, that brings in an additional income, which is, well, I couldn't live without that extra income. So it's absolutely, it's mind blowing. And this year in particular, yields will be down, prices down. It's going to be an absolute perfect storm of I would say a disaster zone, really. So, talking of British cereal farmers, next up, we are going to be talking about Alpro. Now, they produce oat milk. They've made a commitment to use 100% British oats. And we want to talk about whether it's going to be the death of British dairy farming. Is it bad for consumers, or is it good to support those cereal growers?
Cereal growers.
Right, just cut it there. Be right back.
Okay, so here we have a video that Ollie's just sent over as he is, what is he, advertising? Is he representing?
What's he's partnered up?
Yeah, what do you say in the influencer world? What's he doing? Yeah, he's repping Alpro, and this is what he had to say on the matter.
Most cereals are grown for the world market, so we can have no control whatsoever of the price. So Alpro committing to buy 100% British oats is great news, because that means that we've now got a bit more demand for oats, which hopefully should mean a decent price, or if you do grow them, at least you can sell them.
Now, I want to ask you straight in, dairy farmer, what was your first reaction, gut instinct?
I hope he got a good price for his advert.
He probably did.
Yeah, no, that's what I thought. I thought, oh, that's a big company. Well done, you.
Yeah.
That's not what everyone thought.
No, well, Ollie said in reading an article...
Not to cause world war on, social media goings on, but yeah, Ollie got some flack, like.
He did. Well, he said he wanted a farmer to tell the story, which I think is exactly right, but...
Listen, if Alpro came to me as a dairy farmer and said, do you want to do it, I would have bloody done it. As you've just said... You are down 100 and what?
£100 a tonne at the...
£100 a tonne.
That was on last year's
as an arable
produce.
farmer. Why the hell should you turn down an opportunity to feed your family?
And plus, it's not just the income which he will undoubtedly be earning from that partnership, let's say. So undoubtedly, Ollie will be earning income from that brand partnership. But it's also that wider impact on the industry, farmers who grow oats. There will be a market. There is a reason to supply them. Now, we used to grow oats at home, but we stopped growing them because we couldn't really sell them. Now, what a crazy world that we'd be willing to grow that plant, that product.
Yeah, if there was a place for it to go.
Absolutely. So now there is a place for it to go. So why are people up in arms?
I didn't just livestock farmers think they're the centre of the universe, to be perfectly honest. We work harder than everybody else. No, seriously, I really do. And I think that I've been reading I saw the videos and I've read the comments, and I think that I just couldn't stop laughing to myself. I just thought it was really funny.
Can I look at some of the comments?
Just to be so, honestly, they're a read. It was just the pettiness of men, basically. Not wanting somebody else to get on and using, the self-righteous kind of, oh, I'm doing it for the greater good. No, you're not. You're doing it to make a video. Mm-hmm. And that's fine. That's fine. But be honest about it.
Yeah.
From a farming perspective, I very often do try not to separate us into industries. So, for instance, we all kind of are a bit of a jigsaw. we fit in with the arable industry. Like we bought straw off Wardy. And we do utilise a lot of animal feed, which is obviously, like you say, your oats and things. Yeah. Well, there will be waste oats that didn't go into human production would go into animal feed. Yeah. And I think we do all gel together.
Yes.
And I think that's being forgotten in all of this. And being used just to do a bit of a Farmers Weekly and create a bit of controversy online because it makes a good video.
One thing that you brought up was that you wonder, is there confusion between Alpro and Oatley? So we're obviously talking brands here.
Sorry, my computer's not even on. I'm not reading what I've wrote.
There's no promo for any brand here. I say we're neutral. We're not always neutral. But you wondered if people are confusing it with Oatley.
So Oatley are renowned for vegan propaganda, anti-farming, and they have been taken to court. They have been taken by the Advertising Standards Agency, Authority, whatever it is, ASA. They are not a good company morally, I don't think. They are American. They are yet to break even in money terms. They're not doing very well. They've got a 75% chance of going bankrupt in 2025 and a shite share price. So that's how well they're doing. I think out of sheer desperation, they are trying to cling on to this vegan movement that's fashionable and go with it. Alpro, however, have been slapped on the wrist by the Advertising Standards Agency once, and that was basically for saying, good for the planet, good for you. And the only reason they were slapped on the wrist is because they didn't specify how it was good for the planet or how it was good for you. Now, there is no... did it say Switzerland? I've not got my computer on. In Switzerland, they were told off for using the word yoghurt as well because it isn't actual yoghurt.
I think, looking through a couple of the comments on Ollie's post, as a dairy farmer, I'd quite happily back this. People need a choice in what they eat. Not for me, but at least it's British.
As a dairy farmer, I also back it.
That's where I sit as well.
Yeah.
I would never want people to not drink cow's milk. But what we're perhaps forgetting is some people can't drink cow's milk. You know, it's either... Some people don't like the taste. Some people are lactose intolerant. Why can't we provide an alternative which is still supporting other British farmers? And what some people are actually doing here, as you say, is pitching cereal farmers, people who could grow oats, against dairy farmers. Sorry
for the sound of the pig in the background if you can hear it. This is the newsflash. This is a farm. There's got to be pigs outside.
We have got the door open as well to let some air in. So, another interesting comment on the converse: as an arable farmer that grows oats, I wouldn't promote a dairy alternative as I respect our dairy farmers too much and love dairy products. I think that comment has missed the point.
I don't think it is an alternative. People in life have free will to choose whatever the hell they want. Fashions come and go. Clothing fashions come and go. This is like me sticking it into Ridgeline because they use polyester as a plastic opposed to wool in their fleece. It does not matter. Genuinely, no one cares. Unless you're trying to make a video online.
Yes.
And then you pick up, it's a bit like us. We're picking topics for a podcast that will have, in our mind, maximum reach, impact, and views, listens. Honestly, that's a marketing tactic.
Yes.
And social media influencers are doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't think Ollie warranted a lot of flack.
No.
No one really cares in real life. And if anything, people in real life only care whether or not they can afford to feed their family.
I don't drink milk, so I'm glad the farmers round me provide oats for it. Now, this is the bit I find interesting. Watching the farmers fight and bash each other is quite remarkable to see at this time. I'm wondering when the sheep farmers start attacking beef farmers or chicken farmers. And I think that lady has summed it up.
There you go.
Why can't we have a better attitude amongst farmers? It just reinforces all the stereotypes that people have of farmers: grumpy, miserable, in it for themselves, all the rest of it. And most of us are not like that.
Just trying to make a video for online.
Absolutely, absolutely. There are some people talking about the actual...
Like shock horror farmer representing oats.
God forbid. God forbid. Can you imagine?
It's really, honestly, it's laughable. It's absolutely ludicrous. We're about to go to an event called Cereals that focuses on growing cereals. How dare you? The dairy farmers will be outraged.
There are some people talking about the ingredients in the oat milk. Now, quite interesting.
Listen, I like hot dogs and there ain't no pork in them. Do not.
Some things that perhaps...
Do you really think Yazoo, that I drink every single day? This is why I'm the size I am. I go to CoOp every day and buy a bottle of Yazoo milkshake. You want to see the footwell of the card. Roy is mortified. It is shite. Pure sugar, E-numbers and shite. There's barely any milk in it, but I still buy it and I still drink it.
And
if you
people will.
enjoy, just do it. As long as it's not Oatley, we don't like them.
Ingredients, obviously. There are some other things in there, but soluble corn fibre, sunflower oil, there's some extra vitamins in there. So you do wonder, is it processed? Does it fall under that processed bracket?
Of course it's processed, but who cares? There's many processed things on a shelf.
Absolutely. Well, I just think it's a very interesting situation that we find ourselves in, that when we're up against so much in farming, the drought, the dairy farmers and the cereal farmers are facing the drought.
Yeah.
They're having to deal with it.
United together.
Absolutely. Ollie, well, he was speaking to Farmers Weekly, but I just picked up this quote. In a year when we've lost key markets for wheat with the bioethanol US trade deal and wheat future price below cost of production, it's nice that a French-owned company is choosing to buy 100% British oats. In my view, it's a good news story for UK farming.
I completely agree, and that's not because he's my friend. That's because I completely agree, and I'm not a petty... We'll just leave it there. I think
Go on, how are you going to finish that
little
sentence?
Bastard. I mean, we've gone from no swearing to like full on
Every other
F-bombs
word.
and swearing. No, seriously, I think it's really quite sad. And to see farmers being pitched against each other at a time when we're all struggling in our different ways, aren't we?
Well, in terms of sorry, going off topic, as usual. In terms of the content that you post, where do you get the most negativity from?
Well, the other day I posted a video of me going to Italy. I went a couple of months ago to Italy. It was a couple of months ago, wasn't it? To look at silage sheet, and I'd partnered with a silage sheet company called 2Gamma, and they make something called Seal Plus. It's a different silage sheet with an oxygen barrier in the middle. It's very swanky. Anyway, went to the factory to learn all about it, look at the process of it being made, came back, made full comprehensive video, documenting the time in Italy, and I went for...
You're working. You're not going on holiday.
Well,
There's a few bits of time off, but,
Well, my mate Alison works for NMR, and she goes to Ireland every week. Is she going on a jolly?
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
she's going to work. And yes, it was absolutely stunning. And, it's the first time I've been abroad since, I'm going to say, 2015, when I went to... Where did I go? Oh, Spain. The rain in Spain with Jane. That's where I went. Now, that's the only reason I know. So yeah, we went to Spain in 2015, and that's the first time I've been abroad since, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I went for 4 days, and I'm super grateful that I was given that opportunity, and social media has given me that. And one of the first comments on YouTube was, do you ever stay at home and do any work?
Which is just such a... I get so sick of it, because the other thing is...
And then I said, in 4 days, where do you get that I'm never at home? Oh, well, last week you were in London. I said, yes, for a day. So that's 5 days in the last 5 months or something that I've had off. Would you mind telling me how many days a month you take off? And I find it really hard in life not to say what I'm thinking. Well, I'm not one of those people that can be demure and mindful. I'm a goblin.
I'm just actually going to go back. Obviously, last episode was myths and misconceptions, and we're not going into those again this episode, but there was one on there which said that farming is a lifestyle, not a job. In my opinion, it is both. Farmers can have time off like others. And I think, yeah, so they bloody well should. The thing which gets in the way is time and finance, finding somebody who can farm like you farm and can fit in with the system for a day, 3 days, a week, whatever. That's the difficulty, but we should be allowed to have time off.
I had something really good written. I'll try and remember what it said, but it was good. And it was from a magazine article, and someone asked about your value. And I said, at what point did we stop valuing time off? And we only rate somebody and their ability on the amount that they physically exert and hurt themselves.
Yes.
So we seem to...
Yes.
So farmers, as a rule, seem to only value blood, sweat and tears. That's
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
And I find that really sad because, like anyone who's in an office job, they're like, oh, they sit on their ass all day.
Yeah.
Like it is, and that's the view of a farmer. I work harder because I do
because
manual
I'm active
things.
and outside and
I
in
work
all
my
weathers.
fingers to the bone.
Yeah.
People that, or even if you take it to the extent that say for instance, Roy needs to sit inside and do some paperwork. Like, let's be perfectly honest, there's a lot of bloody paperwork on a farm, isn't there? And we see that as a waste of time.
Yes.
We feel guilty because we're not outside doing something manual. We are conditioned to believe that you are only working hard if you are exerting yourself physically. And I think that's crazy and definitely applies to time off.
I think it's interesting because obviously you'll have farmers, I haven't had a day off in 10 years or whatever, or, oh yes, well I get up at 4 and I'm
Slow
not back
clap
in.
for you. What good has it done you?
But when you look at some other jobs, completely not farming, office-based, there is still a competitive element there of almost who's in the office first and who left the office last. 100%. 100%.
I've spent my life being late. I don't relate to that.
But I think it is still there. It is still there. And I think the more we paint ourselves out as farmers as the only people who work hard, I tell you what, I'd rather do my farming hours than do a night shift.
Yeah,
like
I completely agree.
a 12-hour night shift.
I used to work 12-hour nights, 3 on 3 off as a carer, in an like a dementia care unit.
Yes.
So yeah, it was grueling.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that. I would say my hours might be long or more inconsistent and you can't plan, because who knows what's going to happen. But I couldn't do a night shift like that. Yes, we get up early and, we're sometimes lambing through the night or whatever, but it's not that basically having to, I guess, exist in the night and then sleep during the day. You've turned nocturnal.
I've got a really good voice note from a lass called Lexi that plays into that exactly.
So my next big realisation was that I've always worked in companies that have, like, sometimes health and safety goes above and, like, too far. But I have HR, which gives me holiday and makes sure that nobody is horrible to me at work. And I always felt like those were tick box exercises, but actually having not had HR in the past, I now really appreciate HR. But the big one with farming was the idea that it's not a normal job profile, is it? You're doing 24 hours a day if you need to. And so in my head, I'm like, well, we need more farmers so that you can have shift work and you can actually clock off at a certain time and know that if, like, an animal needs help, that you're not going to have to wake up in the middle of the night and go and help it. But would you even want shift work?
Farmers struggle to let go of the reins.
It's a sense of responsibility, I think, that you could only really compare to, say, anyone else that looks after animals. It's that responsibility of caring for something else other than yourself,
Yes,
isn't it?
Absolutely.
Nursing, doctors, but then even then they have shifts and things and they get to go home, don't they?
Yes. And I mean, there'll be times when perhaps they were with a patient longer than expected, which goes, beyond the end of their shift, but that's not a given. That's more out of the ordinary, I would assume, that they're not staying late after every shift.
Lexi's right, though, that we have an unusual job profile.
Yeah, because we don't really get promotions. If it's me and my mum and my dad, what's my next promotion? Basically, when my parents die, I'm probably going to run it, I'm going to be running it solely.
I know, it's what is it? It's just a strange thing.
It's bizarre.
And I think in all this inheritance tax thing as well, people have forgotten we're talking about someone's parents dying.
Yes.
So that you can progress on to the next level. It's very strange to talk about, to think about. It's a peculiar thing. And I suppose the combination of being self-employed, living in your office, and the responsibility of looking after animals,
yes,
is all of them three things combined are very peculiar.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think, to be honest, that's quite a good way to end, in that farming is very peculiar. It doesn't fit to a rule book. It doesn't fit to a routine. you're just kind of winging it most of the time.
Like we are this podcast.
But as always, if you've enjoyed the episode, we'd love if you could leave us a review or even share the episode with your friends.
Love you long time, and we'll see you next time. I haven't even asked you if you like me saying that. I've just taken it upon myself to say it. I mean, maybe you hate it and it makes your stomach curl inside, but
We're going with it.
We're going with it. We're doing it.